6:11. The meeting is called to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm sorry I'm so late. Please forgive me.
It's okay.
I pledge
Ready, begin.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of directors. Director Schoenberg.
Present.
Director Kelling.
Here.
Director Gibson.
Here.
Director Garcia is absent, and Director Nyman is here. Okay, is there any discussion on to adjust the agenda as necessary?
Yeah. Hold on.
You got something?
Yeah, we're tabling 10 and 11 for sure.
We are?
Yeah.
Tabling what?
10 and 11.
That makes sense,
We
yeah.
don't have them.
You got rid of all the stuff that was in my book?
It's underneath everything.
Okay,
It's all there.
I'll entertain a motion that we table number 10 and 11.
I will make a
Oh, we
motion.
don't have that?
It's not.
Oh,
back
that's
from the
right, because of the.
We haven't gotten it back from the attorney. is
Okay,
that right?
I move, yes, sorry, I move that we table 10 and 11.
She was going to.
Oh,
Go ahead.
It's fine.
She'll
I'll second it.
Okay, I move that we table 10 and 11 until the special meeting that we're going to have immediately following our regular planning meeting, same day.
Which is,
March 20.
Okay,
Six.
do I hear a second?
yeah, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye.
Now, if you want to
Just
explain,
a
you
point
can
of order,
explain.
well, can I? Yeah, I guess I can. We discussed having a special meeting because there's too much stuff to go over. The lawyer didn't have enough information to get the bylaws and everything, and if we try to do it on the planning meeting, we won't be reimbursed by the USDA because it's too much. It would make that meeting really all about the bylaws, and it should be about the planning, so we're gonna do the planning meeting, close, and then do a special meeting. That's just the bylaws and all this stuff from.
In the
what's
same evening, it's the same.
It's the same evening, it's right after the planning.
It's like we normally do, it just cuts it off.
Upside down?
No, it just cuts it off, so you have one meeting and 1 meeting minutes, and then you have another meeting and another meeting minutes.
Won't it cost the same though? Cause you guys get paid for
Yeah,
It's
it
gonna
costs the
cost
same.
exactly the same. It's
No, I
not
mean,
costing-
cause we won't get reimbursed for this, you guys won't get reimbursed for the second one anyway, right?
No.
No, but we wouldn't get reimbursed for the first one if we go that long
No,
because we're not
no,
dealing with.
No, I get that part, it's just, I thought you got paid your stipend for each meeting you did, whether, if there's 2 in one day, you get,
No, because
The
it's like
stipend.
3 hours we made a
Oh, that
decision, so unless it
makes
goes over 3 hours.
oh,
Which I
So-
doubt it will.
Which I don't think it will,
Okay, from your mouth to God's ears.
hopefully.
Well, generally, we do our pledge and all of that, and then we go into our financials. Then we talk about all of this stuff. So are we gonna reverse all of that?
financials is down at 8.
Well, we always,
Here,
we
On the other.
don't necessarily have to do the financials.
Oh, you mean again, like on the second meeting? Yeah, no,
No.
we wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, that can all be in the first meeting, it just can't be, the special meeting is just about, what's the
Senate Bill 998.
it's just about Senate Bill 998.
Basically, we're just keeping separate. We can still do the financials on the same meeting. The special meeting is so that it doesn't encompass, because the state will say, hey, you spent this much time and we're not gonna reimburse you. for it."
Senate Bill 998 is going to take a couple of hours to fix the bylaws and everything, so
At
it
least.
just doesn't make sense to put it as part of the planning meeting. Cause it's a whole
It's pretty
separate, it has
simple.
nothing to do with planning, it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with USDA. So we just did it as a special meeting, so Tiffany just has to post it correctly.
Okay?
Okay,
Any other,
It shouldn't cost anything different.
any other, agenda adjustments that are needed?
Mhm.
No? Okay,
Well, oh no, Linda's here. Never mind.
okay. Public comments? Are there any public comments?
You say public comment on what you're talking about there, or just?
No,
other
anything.
issue?
Okay.
No, wait,
Now
whatever.
would be the time.
No, okay. So the reason I'm here is that I own some properties up here, and with water getting to be expensive, I'm trying to shift it over to my tenants, because I have no control how much water they use. So here I get the bill at my house, and I want it to go to the tenant with my name on it. So I had a problem where this can be done, but you need a copy of my driver's license. Well, you know who I am because I have plenty of records. You know, I'm just tired of everyone wanting identification, copies of driver's licenses. You know, people are stealing information, and I'm willing to show someone my driver's license, verify who I am. And I just want this thing to go from my residence to the tenant's place, so he gets it and he pays the bill. And it's problematic. So I guess it's a rule that you gotta have this. So how do I just have this thing sent from, instead of my house, to my tenant's house, so he can pay the bill in a timely fashion?
April 1st is gonna be an issue where tenants will be able to put the water in their name whether you want them to or not. So at that point, you could, when you rent out a new house, you could just say, the water's off, and if you want it turned on, you gotta go deal with it. But we're still trying to work out this, a new law that passed, we're trying to work that out. But in the meantime, anytime an owner-tenant directive, we're following policy every time, and that's why she's doing it, is because she follows the policy that I tell her to follow, that they wrote. So
So I don't know, so April 1,
hopefully April, we're trying to hash it
That's
all out right
that's
now.
the meeting that we're gonna have. That Senate bill is in relationship to that.
so, I mean, going forward, so the bills are automatically gonna go to the residents?
If you refuse to turn on the water and they come in here and they show a rental agreement
Right.
from you, then they could turn the water on in their name.
No, you know, there's fees and trying to say, you know, tenants that come and go, so every time, you know, you do that, I just wanna make it real easy so people don't have to lay out money for just having the bill come to them, so it
No,
just.
that's not gonna happen. There's always the fee associated with, no matter who turns it on, there's gonna be that fee associated with.
No, it's, I mean, not on, and I never turn it on and off, it's always on. But I
Well,
just-
no, what I'm saying is, the only way to get around it is if the new law changes and you refuse to pay the bill, then it'll be in the tenant's name. But otherwise, each time we have the owner-tenant directive that you have to go through. It doesn't matter how many houses you have, you still have to follow the rules like I would.
No, it's never, you know, the water's always gonna, you need water, so I mean, that's not gonna be a problem where not can pay the bill. I just want the bill to go here, so the water gets paid and to be just real easy.
Well, it's like I told you before, it is real easy if you let them have their own direct billing via internet, through email. If they create their own account for each house, they could get it, but then you wouldn't be allowed to get it. Only the tenant would get it. Otherwise, you gotta pay that fee for the owner-tenant directive every time.
Well, so then there'll be fees involved, this new setup, right? For the-
There's gonna be a fee for everybody. Whoever turns the water on, there will be a fee for them.
No, like, I just want it to go to the house, it's always on, because like if someone moves out, I go in there and clean, I need water.
Again, that's not gonna happen. Whoever
So-
turns the water on is gonna get the bill.
So you're gonna say that, so like, with this passing of this bill, anytime someone moves out of a place, you're gonna automatically shut the water off?
The way the bill is written is if somebody defaults on the bill.
Let's say assuming no default, just.
Okay, I'm telling you what the law says. The only way somebody has a right to turn on the water in their house, in that house, is if you default or you refuse to pay the bill. Then the tenant can come in with a rental agreement and say, John never paid the water bill, I need water turned on in my house. Then they have to prove who they are, they have to have the rental agreement, they have to pay the activation fee, they have to turn the water on. Then you would have to do the same thing when they moved out. You would have to come back, pay the transfer fee again to go back in your name, or you just keep it simple and you do what you've been doing.
Yeah, I wanna keep it simple, I mean.
That is simple, it's pretty simple.
But I just want the bill to go, you know, say it's in my name, it goes to the resident, he gets it, he pays it, that's so he knows how much he has to pay, how much water he's using, so.
Again, if you allow them to create the account, the internet account, they would get the bill on their internet every month.
I don't want them to
So you
even have
just
that
wanna change
complication.
the mailing address of the
I
bill?
just wanna change the mailing, I just want it to go to the house, you know, because they're using the water, I have no control over what they use, they pay it, you know, and the bill's always gonna
Sandra?
be paid.
They're able to look at, aren't they able to?
You wanna remain responsible for
That
the
could be
Can I just say,
Hey, hang on a minute.
the problem when you leave it in the landlord's name and then change the mailing address, I've already come across this problem from the last person that was at my desk. The landlord comes back and blames me when the tenant hasn't paid the bill because I never told you to change the address, even though they do,
That's what I'm saying.
but they're
That's
like, but that's not my address, so I shouldn't have to pay the bill.
it has to stay, in my opinion, the board has to decide this, but in my opinion, it has to stay the way it is now, except for abiding by the new law that's gonna come into effect with rental agreements, because it always seems like it's easy, but the best way to avoid problems is following policy that is set. We got to.
Director Kelly.
For each home, you have an account number. All they need is that account number. Give your tenant that account number. Have them look it up online under the FPPUD. They can look up how much it is. They come in here before the 20th and pay it.
But only one person can have that. If somebody's already set that up, you can't, if the owner has it, the tenant can't have it too.
They can't look
So,
at the
but all
bill.
they have to do is call here every month and say, I live at this address, what's my bill?
Well, that's
Just
right,
like,
but it's
just
the
like
account
we have one
number.
of your tenants that does that. He comes in every month, he checks how much it is, he pays his bill, and it's never a problem.
Yeah, so I have a new tenant, and I said, you know, you gotta come in here, but I just wanted to go to his residence.
It's not gonna do that though. That's-
Not unless you pay the transfer fee and then,
Well, I'm trying to, you know, we get feed to death nowadays, every time you turn around, and I'm just trying to eliminate this. You know, if someone moves out, and this last tenant, they're there for, you know, 7 years or so. So I just want the bill, could be in my name, goes there, he gets it, he pays the water, and it's never a problem. So,
No, it's always a problem. That's why that's why the policy was written. It's not a problem for you, it's a problem for us. And we're the water company, so if it's gonna be a problem for us, that's what we need to worry about. We can't have owners and tenants arguing over who is responsible, because ultimately, whoever's bill that is in is gonna be their responsibility. If they run it up 2 months, now almost 3 months behind, and you don't know it because you're not getting a bill, it's gonna be on you. And the new law is gonna be, it doesn't just go to your taxes, it's gonna be a collection agency coming to get you. So we have to keep it
yeah, but you would shut the water off,
no?
after almost 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah, now the.
That's a lot of bills that accrue. You could wind up with $600 in bills
For one house.
for one tenant. So that's why it's important to stick with policy when it comes to this. It's not that complicated. I realize you own a lot of properties, but you know, they're money makers for you too. So that transfer fee isn't gonna hurt you, but all the issues will for us. We cannot deal with people that come up and think that they should just get special favors because people rent from them and they have so many houses. I mean, we still have to follow policy no matter what it is. And we've explained that a bunch of times, but you know, unless the board wants to change the policy,
No. But couldn't he, when he gets a new tenant, tell the tenant, you need to do an owner directive and transfer it to your name, and you have to pay a $35 fee.
yeah, but again, that,
He
but he
doesn't
doesn't
wanna
wanna show
do
his
that.
ID to do it, and we have 1,300, we have,
I'm willing to show my ID.
we have 1,300 accounts here. When the owner calls and says, I wanna do owner tenant directive, all they have to do, somebody like him, like we've said before, he could fax us his portion of it with the tenant here to show his ID, and we could transfer the bill. It's not a problem. We do it all the time, but we have to have the paperwork filled out and the fee paid in order for us to do that. Gotta follow policy, right?
So what's the issue with them just calling in to find out what the bill is and paying it?
Well, I talked to the guy, I guess he's come over here and said, what's the bill? And, I mean, I get the thing in the mail. I just thought, if it goes to his house, he knows what it is, we eliminate the conversation, and,
Yeah, it's just
I'm
we
just trying
can't,
to simplify it.
it just creates too many problems, especially with this new law. It needs to go to whoever's responsible for the bill.
Well, yeah, it's the guy that's using the
No,
water.
it's whoever signs up, so it's either you and you're completely responsible and it doesn't get turned off when they move out, it's all up to you, or it's them and they're completely responsible, and every time they're done, everything gets shut off, and then the new person has to go through and do the same thing.
And ultimately, it boils down to this. We can't set policy and say, Cassandra, we want you to do this and only this every time, and especially when it comes to this guy, we're gonna bend the rules for that.
Yeah,
You
you
gotta
can't do
follow
that, no.
policy for every tenant, every landlord, and then that way it keeps her from having problems, me from having problems, and you guys from having to chew on us and say, what's wrong, why did you do it this way? If we just follow the rules, it's easier for everybody.
I guess the part that I objected to is just, you need a copy of this, so it's in files, and they got, so many people have copies of our information, and this is another one that, you know, I show you my ID, you look at it, I am who it says it
Yeah, but
is.
see, if you come in, that's a little, if you come in and you do it with that person, we know it's you, we've already seen your ID a bunch, you walk in the door, that's one thing, but you don't do that. You wanna call and say, hey, I wanna do this, anybody could call.
So if I come in with my tenant, then we could have it where it goes to where he's living and,
With the fee.
But he still has to pay the
He's
fee.
gonna have to pay the fee.
Oh, okay, so that's,
The owner-tenant directive, yeah, because you're turning over the responsibility to them by doing that. They have to do it. We're not gonna be doing, address changes all the time, because what if somebody does that to you and then, and you don't want them to do it? And then they run up the bill.
well, then it's gonna be in his name then, if you take my name.
It would be him fully responsible if you did the
No,
owner-tenant directive.
that doesn't bother me, just that, be in my name, I just want the mailing go from here
That's, yeah,
to
see,
there.
that's not gonna work. It's gotta be the same for every owner and tenant.
Because
in this
the
town.
law also requires like really specific stuff, this new law, like the
Well, the new
bill
law-
has to go to
The-
you, whoever is responsible for the water.
The new law actually pertains only to lock-offs. That's what it
Right.
pertains to.
Yeah, lock offs.
So if it's not a lock-off situation, then the tenant can't come in and mandate that it's turned on because the owner still has the right. The law is only if the owner gets locked off, the owner can't try to evict people by saying, I ain't paying the bill, they let it get shut off after 2 months, and then the tenant can't turn the water on in his name, so he's gotta move.
Right, but what I'm saying is specifically, it says though that it goes to whoever's responsible.
Whoever's
The bill
willing to come in
goes
and take
to
responsibility.
Whoever is paying the bill. Right?
They take over responsibility, but as soon as it's put in the tenant's name, I mean, if you don't pay, then the tenant can have an account. Otherwise, the account's in your name and it goes to you.
So I got with this new law, so I've got tenants where it goes to their residence, they pay it, I don't have to get involved, I don't know how much water they use, I don't have to be on them for,
Yeah.
they're using too much water, and, you know, it just works real simple.
Right, but they just still have to follow the directive, it's a $35 fee. So if you have your tenant come in, the only way that they would come and turn on the water in their name is if you didn't pay the bill and it got locked off.
It's in my name, but going to their
But it wouldn't be in
residence.
your name
Okay.
anymore at that point.
It
So
wouldn't
I mean, where I have some now that are that way.
Yeah,
You're gonna-
that will all change if they decide that they wanna, if you don't pay the bill, that's when it will change.
Yeah.
I
Those back fees would still be on him, right?
They would still be on you.
Pay
You know,
the
the
bill.
landlord, it's always on me anyway.
If
I'm
you-
the landlord.
I would recommend that all owners to just start doing it like they do Edison and gas and everything else. If you don't wanna pay the water, or there's problems, then the tenant moves in, they get it turned on with a rental agreement, whatever policy you guys set at the time for proof, they have to pay the water, it's in their name and it's fully on them. But
There's not fees, if you go with the electric company and gas company.
there's always gonna be a fee.
Oh,
for
there is a fee
activating the
to turn
water.
on a new service? There's a fee.
For the gas company?
Mhm.
Well,
Yes,
I mean-
there
I mean,
is.
for me, I mean, I guess someone that's new,
They still would pay.
But it would work the same way, so if they don't pay and they get locked off, you would need to put the bill back in your name, so it would still be all the same fees and stuff, so. I mean, it would work exactly the same way, it's just like if they don't pay electric or gas, it gets shut off, and, you know. and then you have to take over again.
I just want to clarify, come April 1st, there will no longer be a $35 fee for owner transfer.
It'll be cost of,
Oh,
We can't do it anymore.
you're
The tenants now have the right, so we can't charge for it, not the owner-tenant directive. The only fee we can now do is the owner transfer fee, so a new owner. But you could still do the directive still has to be met in that way, it's just not gonna incur a $35 fee.
So, you know, with all the
Then
dialogue,
that does what you want it to do.
I hope
They'll
we're-
still need
I
your
hope I'm
license.
not gonna be tested on all the conversations we've had and all the, because I don't think I'd pass the test. So like, come April 1, so it could be put in the person's name and there's not gonna be that
Well-
fee that we're talking.
But
I
you
would
still,
wait.
It's still an owner-tenant directive, that
You would-
page still exists, it's just not the $35.
But if he comes in with the new tenant, he does not have to, they can put their license down?
the fact is, for the next month, everything's gonna be in flux. Half of our stuff is at the attorney right now. The attorneys don't even know what the new law says for a lot of the stuff. Everybody's tossing it back and forth, so your best bet is to go with the answer now and give it a month or two until we get the new policies in effect, because none of us know exactly what's gonna happen with the policies until we hash it all out at the next meeting. The fees, there's a lot of fees that we can't charge, there's fees we have to charge less, there's a lot of different things that we haven't hammered out yet, so I would give it another few weeks until we figure out what's going on.
okay. Well, that's the end of our 5 minutes, so we need to move along.
Thanks for coming in,
Okay,
though.
you know, I appreciate the, you know, it's kind of refreshing to come in where we pledge the flag. I mean, in this country, the way things are going, you know, it's like racist and illegal and it's terrible and
It's better.
it's kind of pleasure to
Well, good.
see that.
Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Report of officers. Well, the president's not here.
Thank you.
Vice President, I have nothing. Secretary,
I have nothing.
Treasurer,
I guess it's under the ad hoc, my report, I transferred the money, but that happened last time, I am gonna transfer the money for the, interest for the loans, so I have a sheet from
yeah,
Linda
we
for
can
how
discuss
much.
that when we get to
So, I will be
the
doing,
counts.
yeah, I'll be
payable.
doing that.
Okay. JPI representative, nothing? Okay. Any board initiatives? Okay, managers report.
All right, the roads were so, destroyed from the last storm that there was, people that were trapped in their driveway or trapped out of their driveway, they couldn't get in or out, all over. Tons of roads that were just horrible, our pipes exposed everywhere, whatever, so I called the newspaper, and, I haven't seen the article today that came out, supposedly it was gonna be front page, but Gary came out to take some pictures of Elm where somebody tried to help and they sandbagged stuff, but it turned out to make it worse. But so anyway, I asked the paper to report whether, I don't know if they did, but I asked them to report that even though it's not our responsibility, I was going to go out personally and try to fix as many roads as I could to get people out of their homes. And if anybody in particular was legitimately stuck because of their road or something, to call here and ask. Nobody did, but so I could go out and try to, you know, grade it so they'd get out. So in the last 2 days, I fixed 14 roads, the worst of them that there was, and covered up a bunch of pipe and a bunch of stuff that we got going on. So, and I couldn't even do it. The tractor was broke until lunch yesterday at 10, so they had to come up and fix that. But anyway, so hopefully the article came out today like it was gonna.
Where do you- oh, sorry.
Well, I think it's very commendable for us to do that, but I think we need to also be careful that we don't set a precedent where then people will just expect you to come and fix their road.
That's why I had the article.
Yeah, because
That's why I called the paper to have have them point out the fact that we had in the past tried to pass a rate increase to take care of the roads. It didn't pass, but for the sake of helping the community, I'm trying to help. So that's the whole purpose of having the newspaper article written. And I will tell you, there's been a lot of Facebook posts in the last couple hours where, you know, people are really appreciative of what's going on. One guy even came out and offered to pay for road base for all of Park View when it dries up a little bit. So Anyway.
I guess my biggest concern at some point is if for some reason we're not able to do so-and-so's road over here, that they don't all of a sudden make an issue and say, well, you went and helped so-and-so.
Well, they can't, because
you know.
they can't, because again, it's not our responsibility. Most
But
of the
you're
roads.
making it our responsibility.
No, I'm not. Most of the roads have exposed pipe that is our responsibility.
Okay, but as long as you stick to and you make sure the resident isn't, you're not saying, I'll come get you out of your driveway. No, I'm coming to fix this exposed pipe. If that helps you, that's
No,
great.
actually, like I said, it had to say legitimately stuck. If there's somebody, like one lady had, her kid has cancer treatments, she couldn't get out of her driveway. I don't care what anybody says. I'm gonna go, whether it's on my time or company time, and I'm gonna get them out of their driveway because that's just good neighbor. There ain't nobody could hold it against us. Somebody could say, oh, well, like people do all the time. Well, you fixed Elm and it looks nice, and my road's terrible. And I go up and I check that road, and all it is just rough because of pebbles. It doesn't affect us one way or another. All it does affect us is
Well, we
negative,
fixed
not trying
Elm
to fix the roads.
because of the tank. I mean, you know, because we have to
I'll
get
put it
up
this
to the
way,
tank.
every single road in this district has pipes running on it. Every single road in this district has something that needs to be covered up.
Yeah.
So, again, I spoke to Lisa. She told me what I needed to point out
Okay.
to the newspaper. I did all of that, and Patrick said she was going to do that. So,
Okay.
I don't know what ended up in the article, but she understands too that it is not our responsibility.
Director Schoenberg.
I mean, in the past, we've sometimes done that, and I think that that's a nicety of this company. I don't think that that is sets a precedent. That we went and got the mud out of going into the post office a couple of times. We've done snow removal a couple of times
Right.
because people couldn't get into the police
Well, and help for
station
commodities for the
or
community.
commodities or whatever.
Right.
So I don't, what is important is when he's doing like a whole road, it's because there's a tank or a pipe or a valve can or something.
Right.
But I don't think it's wrong of us to go above and beyond sometimes and just like, this is our, we work for this town. This
Yeah, I know. I'm not opposed
and
to that.
I don't believe it does set a precedent because it's not a policy. We've never had a policy, and I reminded Johnny that the one policy that we did try to do got voted down by the people in town, which is why we've never maintained the roads, because no one wanted to pay for us to maintain the roads.
Plus, there's
Director
another-
Gibson.
And I think that was the perfect follow-up to getting the roads fixed, that you were able to, that they followed up with an article in the paper, because even people in my own family say, the water company, when are they going to do something about it? Well, it's not our responsibility. So I think always we need to remind people that it's not our responsibility, because
Which I do.
that's finger pointing 101.
And then the next thing I'm going to bring up is the
Okay.
fact that I have realized for a long time, but it's a reality now. There's a lot of trails that so much erosion has happened that we're going to have to budget a substantial amount of money to fixing them and bringing dirt in to lay on top of our pipes. The only alternative is if for some reason we could fast track the mainline replacement, but that's not realistic. There's a lot of trails that the pipes are either at the surface or
Right.
just below the surface. So that's our responsibility.
Well, and that's
it's-
also going to cause us more leaks, because if it freezes,
Not just
if you're close to the surface, you're going to freeze.
Not just that, but we've had clamps that were exposed and blew a guy's expensive tire apart. Luckily, he was nice and was just upset at first, and then I told him to submit the bill, and he never did. He said he understood, but so that's something that's got to come around pretty quick, where we set aside money for road base to be brought in. We're going to have to put topsoil down. We're going to have to devote time to doing it, because it can't go on forever. Any of the trails that are pretty steep have all eroded to the point where any one you look at, you see at the bottom of the trail where the yard sits and then where the road is. It's all eroded from the speed of the water traveling across it. So that's something that we definitely have to do. Not just Elm and Walnut, but Parkview, Alcott, Decatur, Irvine. There's just a bunch of them. Heck, my street's got a pipe that's about 10 feet exposed on top of the road. Almost every one has that issue, so we're gonna have to start putting dirt on top. We can't, the way I fixed all the roads today is the same way I fixed them for the last 11 years. Most of the time, I drag dirt from a place that's got a little more dirt.
Director Schoenberg.
I thought we were kind of stockpiling some dirt and road base. Did we?
No, we never got the road base, we got dirt.
Okay.
But the dirt is filled with rocks too, and that takes an exorbitant amount of time to sift it, and then we're still doing the same thing where it's still just gonna get eroded because it's not a road base. Plus, you got the issue of when you do a full road, that needs semi trucks running it to
Okay.
get it done. So
Can we maybe put this on an agenda to discuss?
next regular
And,
meeting?
and maybe get a quote just to, like, what it costs for like a truckload or something like that for the road base, so we have an idea. of what it
Truckload
costs.
price is not gonna be a problem. The problem is gonna come into play if you want more. It would be better to give a budget and then I do the best that I can with the budget. Otherwise, it's gonna require somebody that's an engineer that could come out and look and see, okay, this road needs 2 feet and this road needs 6 inches and this is how much soil it's gonna take, because I know cubic yard if I order it, but I have no idea how much that road's gonna take.
Well, I'm not,
But I can get
Talking
price
about-
per load.
but
Yeah,
per
that's what we
load,
need,
so
so
we have an idea,
of
you
what
know,
it might
figuring
cost,
we're
but-
gonna have so many
Yeah.
loads, so we kinda have an idea how much we're gonna spend, so.
Yeah. Again, but I won't know how many loads, but I can get you a
Right.
price per load.
Right, well, we can have that discussion.
Yeah,
Okay,
cool. And I think that's all I got right now.
all right. Administrative assistance report.
Okay. So I started getting quotes in for translation service for our policies in connection with the new bill. The good news is, well, they were really high and I got one in today. And this is just for the discontinuation policy. There's a couple more tiny ones that'll need to be translated. But the big one, Reliable Translations, gave a quote for $1,240. My other quotes were $4,500 and $5,200. But since they translated similar documents already with all the wording from the law, they really cut down how much they're charging us for translation. So that's what it's gonna look like. I'm still gonna wait for a couple more that I have quotes
Well,
out
that's
there
better
for.
than the $4,500 I saw
Yeah,
earlier.
it's the lowest I've seen by far, and they're saving us a lot of money on the
Yeah,
translations.
Didn't you say that,
Director Kelly.
that, our, one of your, something we belong to is doing this, and that they were going to send out or give referrals?
Yeah, I mean, I got the referrals for different companies from people who've done translating, had their documents translated already, other districts. So I just went on and got estimates from a bunch of the people that were recommended. But our policy has 4,276 words, and they're charging us for 1,069, so that's about a quarter of the cost that we would have been charged. So they're doing this good one.
Excellent.
So that's coming in. I did attend the Prop 218 and 26 workshop this week, and the webinar on how to collect bills under 998, and got a lot of good information. Some stuff I even forwarded to Alan Dowd. I took advantage of the attorneys and people who were there that I could question free of charge because they're there at the workshop. So I did ask them a lot of questions and forwarded their opinions over to Alan. So that was good. Next month, I was gonna say next month we're gonna be having the special meeting after this month. I'm sorry, this month we're having a special meeting after the planning meeting. So just prepare for it to go long. I apologize, that's the March 26th. I just have not gotten the stuff back from Ellen yet. We haven't got the bylaws, we haven't gotten the 45-day notice back, we haven't gotten the new tenant agreement yet, and all that will need to be reviewed by the board before April 1st, so we're on a deadline. The last thing is just out today, the governor of California issued an executive order, and I printed it out if you're interested. What he's doing is waiving some of the teleconference requirements for the board meetings under the Brown Act. So,
That's awesome.
if you all ever felt like it became an issue having meetings, public meetings, we don't have the technology in place yet, but it is an option for us to do teleconferencing, and we wouldn't have to notice your house if you do it from home, like the brownout says, and you wouldn't have to allow people to come to your home like you would have before. So it's just a temporary reversal of some of those teleconference brownout requirements.
Director
So-
Schoenberg.
If it's an individual, like let's say I get sick, but I'm not so sick I can't attend the meeting, but I don't want to come here and get all of you sick,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm able to call in like we would do any sort of call in from someone who is legitimate to do that
During this time, yeah.
during the meeting time.
Or
Yeah.
if you just are more susceptible to getting sick, you can stay at home
And then
call in, so you don't get sick from somebody else that's sick. So at least during the coronavirus scare, it's gonna simplify things.
And it used to be if you called in, you'd have to put an agenda from where you're calling in from and allow the public access to you. That's all been suspended.
Okay.
Here's the if you're interested in a copy of the executive order, it's here. I can
Okay.
make you copies. And that's it.
So
Okay.
is it from here, from now on? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't raise my hand. Or is it just for this period, like with the coronavirus?
It's not from now on, it's just a
Okay.
coronavirus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Until the state of emergency is over.
Okay.
Okay, ad hoc committees, meeting of local water companies.
Were you at the last one?
Yeah.
I know we talked a lot about safety things, and Dave Reiner did show up. He's the CERT guy. He wants us all to join CERT. We talked about a lot about wearing gloves and the masks, and there's not a lot that CERT can really do for us.
Yeah, the only thing that I really got out of that, well, I got a few things out of the meeting, but I didn't get a lot out of the meeting other than CERT. Their mission, as soon as there's an emergency, is to set up shop, or set up their tent and everything in the park. So when I had asked, is the park a place where people can go to gather information, and everyone was like, I don't know. CERT at least sets up there. So if somebody wasn't sure about where an evacuation center is or anything like that, so what happens is CERT has to be mobilized by a first responder, but as soon as they're mobilized, they set up at the park, and then they're asked by first responders to go help, whatever, like if they're going to help Red Cross and like if they end up with the evacuation place at the high school or wherever, but they would have that information. So that's helpful to know, so that if we needed to direct people to a particular place and we weren't sure yet, we could potentially, go ask them, and they would have that information. As far as actually coordinating other stuff with them, they're not really given the
They have
mandate to do any of that stuff.
Yeah, they don't really have.
It's
Yeah.
really the most that they're doing is some like coordination, and then being asked to help with, setting up the evacuation centers, passing out food, that kind of stuff.
Okay,
So.
all right.
I just want to say, so when Director Gibson called me after the road shut down, to ask if anyone was mobilizing, if there was any kind of, and
I panicked.
yeah, but
Oh, the mudslide?
But if the mudslide had been more significant, or let's say there was a mudslide that happened in one of these burn areas, the best thing right now, like we're still not, I don't believe that the water companies are organized enough, nor are some of these things our mandate. So I think we would have to be, we have to still get a better relationship with the first responders, and the first responders, if it was a water issue, would, call us, and then maybe we could coordinate some stuff with the water companies, but I don't really see us, just going out and doing anything otherwise.
Again, we still we talked about this before, the local water companies, most of them, we are not gonna be able to help each other much together. That's why we call Cal Warren. And I just verified again, somebody said, oh, well, your Fraser Park isn't on the website. So I checked, oh no, you're absolutely on the website, you've been on it for a long time. So we call Cal Warren because Cal Warren can send somebody from Burbank to Pinyon Pines and help them while we're dealing with our own issues, or Lebec, or whatever the case may be. So I confirm that we are still part of that, 100%, and that's what it's designed for. So you don't have to leave our emergency to go help another emergency. They could send somebody that's totally outside of the emergency to fix it. So we've already got that coordinated really well.
Okay, is that it?
I just wanted to ask Johnny, do the guys wear masks and stuff when they check the meters?
Now, why would they? It's not gonna do anything. For one thing, are you talking about to protect the residents or to protect the guys?
To protect the guys.
First of all,
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about like more along the
Dust? Or?
yeah, the dust and that kind of stuff.
The black mold kind of thing?
Yeah, that's what. Oh, there's that fungus out there.
there's nothing. You're talking about valley fever.
Valley fever.
Valley fever is primarily in the valley. It's not unheard of up here, but it's primarily in the valley. But even OSHA doesn't say wear them masks. Nobody is going to wear a mask all day long. It is so hot and sweaty and uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
There's just no way. Plus, I tried to order some masks for the front desk for bill time when it gets real bad, with people coming in and sneezing and coughing. You cannot get them anywhere.
Not now, no.
Not only that, but right now they're saying the mask ain't going to do you any good anyway, but they still bought them all out. So you're kind of
Okay,
stuck.
this is off point of order, it's off topic.
I was just wondering if the guys wore them.
No.
You know.
Okay, so Sigma?
Sigma, I don't know what they're doing. I haven't heard that they've met.
Yeah, I haven't
They're
heard
not
anything.
notifying us at this point. So
They aren't meeting. I keep asking Bill. And I had
Johnny?
If you talk to D, I was just talking to him. He spent a couple of months nonstop working on somebody's not the Sigma part, but the secondary part, the plan they have to write and all that shit. He said, "Thank God you guys don't have to deal with that. It is so costly and so hard to do." He said, "Just be grateful that you guys don't have to deal with any of that. Because if we started down that road, we're talking bankrupting the company in financial fees and
well, that's
costs."
why we didn't
That's
do it.
what-
It's millions of
Yeah,
dollars.
so I mean, so the Sigma itself, do we still have to keep that?
Well,
ad hoc
yeah,
going?
because we are a part of, so we're what's called a up
gradient.
Yeah.
company.
Right.
So even though we're not officially any part of that, of the organization that they created between Tejon and Lebec, it still affects us. So we still have some say-so, and also are still, they're sort of still not mandated, but I think that they are still sort of, I don't know if it's a requirement, but they're supposed to be letting us know, because we're still theoretically affected by whatever decisions they make in a much smaller way. So yeah, I think we should keep it on the agenda, but I don't know what's
Okay.
going on with them. So it's just a matter
Depreciation of assets, we haven't done anything. I think we're done with the cell phone negotiation.
We could remove that, but I just checked with Alan Dowd, who, hey, he had to check with Jerry Pearson, said they'd be getting us the agreement soon. It's already been a month, and so he said he's gonna get it to us. So Monday I'm gonna ask him again, where is that, so we could finally put this behind us and be done with it. So that part don't have to be on the agenda again.
Right.
But when I get the agreement, I will have it put on the agenda for you guys to go over the agreement before it's all signed by everybody. So
Director Schoenberg.
What's not on the ad hoc committee reports is the ad hoc that has to do with the planning, the phone call ad hoc. Is there a
Well, that
reason?
wouldn't be on this one because
That
it's
would be
on
on
the,
the next
that-
meeting.
that's, we update on the other meeting.
Well, no, because sometimes it carries over. Like we had a meeting, like we probably should report.
Well, that's
that-
well 5, well 5 should be on here, but it's not, that's well 5, that has to do with
Yeah, I
the
know,
new,
this
that
has to do with
the
well
new,
5, but
has
we've
to do
also-
with the new well.
Right.
That ad hoc committee, we should have had on there, but.
So you wanna add a
Well, whatever other
project ad hoc?
projects are happening that aren't getting, or that need to be discussed before we get to the planning meeting, that may or may not have to do with planning.
So that's gonna be up to you two to tell Tiffany what's important to put on there.
Okay.
Cause a lot of times there's stuff that, there's nothing to go over, and other times there is, so.
Okay, on to 8, financial business, accounts payable and financial information.
Well, can we
Well, if it's not on the agenda, we can't,
can move to, yeah, you can move to discuss it on the agenda because this isn't a special meeting. On a special meeting, you can't add anything. We
Why don't you revisit my manager's report, because I have something to report on well 5.
Okay, I'll move to revisit the, number 6, manager's report.
do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 401.
Okay, my update is that, we did that e-authorization thing and all that to get on the website, so just finally, today, I got to where I can actually get on to where the new, the application is, just today, and Oscar too, so Oscar wants to get right on it. He's asked us just the first of the billion questions we're gonna have. Tiffany answered some, I answered some. He's actively working in the program itself to submit the application, so.
Okay.
And then that's what I got on well 5. Anybody else got anything?
I guess.
Director Schoenberg, go
I
ahead.
guess I can say, in conjunction with that, so we went over, Director Nyman and I went over, very carefully both the well 5, replacement project paperwork and the contract with D. Jasper for well 5. And, we did find some mistakes and we brought those up to Curtis. Curtis has, as far as I know, amended those mistakes. I know we already voted on both of these, so, with the amendments, so we made the amendments, and he made the amendments, and then he has sent the, everything back up to Robert,
At USDA.
at USDA, Nielsen at USDA, in order for him to give some kind of final approval so that we can submit the application. So the application that we're online with still can't fully be submitted until we get stuff back from
We're waiting on USDA, because we keep asking them, and so Curtis has gone back to them again.
But it is progressing.
But it's progressing,
But it's
and
progressing.
we did find a few mistakes and Curtis, fixed those.
Yeah,
Director Kelly,
and how long did you guys work on that?
Hours
well, it was at least 3 hours each contract to read through the whole thing.
Thank you, but I think Dee needs to get us those things earlier, so we're not pushed.
D doesn't have anything to do with the holdup right now. It's the USDA and, Curtis.
No, I
and
think
everybody
what her
working
point
together.
was is that when he submitted the well spec to us,
It was
it was at the meeting and we hadn't had a chance to even
same with the
review it.
contract.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a snowball effect. It's not just D. I know we keep on focusing on
Yeah.
D ain't getting it done, but
Oh.
D gets held up by Robert. Robert gets held up by, Al, Coriel. Everybody's holding everybody up. So now it's at least progressing forward and we're getting it done. It's
Right.
most of that's hashed out thanks to the ad hoc committee with the reading it.
And Curtis was really helpful and spent time with us at 5 p.m. to go over everything, so that he could fix it to
Yeah,
get
we
it
had
back
an
up to
additional
Robert.
phone call
So,
Yeah, if it was 3 hours each, my goodness.
And then we came in for the additional phone call to go
Yeah,
over
so we had
things.
one more phone call after the going through everything with Curtis to let him know what the issues were.
And just to point out, if it takes 3 hours just to go through it, imagine how long it takes to actually write it. And we're not the only customer. Everybody, they're focusing on us, where it's moving quick, but to be honest, since a lot of it is being held up in other aspects, it's still going pretty fast, because even if they had that done a month ago, USDA still wouldn't be ready.
Holding
We
it
still
up.
wouldn't have the authorization to even submit anything, so it's still getting done in a timely manner. It's just not fast enough for us, but it really is.
It's
And,
just it's crazy because even though it's boilerplate stuff, you have to read through everything because there's all these things that you have to make sure actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And even on our last big project, when it got to be the Robert Nielsen, I mean, it always got bottlenecked at the engineer for USDA because, I mean, it's more specific, it's more, you know,
they're double checking everything too.
yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, we'll go on to number 8. You're up, Linda. Accounts payable and financial information.
All right. Okay, the total, checking, savings, cash and cash equivalents is $1,792,535.02. The operating account as of February 21, 2020 balance was $227,046.94. The total number of checks that are included for approval is $47,547.09, which does include the annual renewal of director bonds. It also
you.
includes some work on well 5.
Wait, work on
Or wait,
well
not well
5?
5, it's Bakersfield well.
Elm Tank.
Elm Tank.
Elm Tank
Booster.
Booster
Yeah.
number
That was
1.
$7,000 or something
Yeah.
like that.
So, and then there was one other thing.
We did have one question, Linda.
Yeah.
Go.
There's a pretty hefty electric bill that part of it should have already been paid once because I remember signing it last month. The bill is for $8,398 as opposed to our usual $4,000. It's saying we have a past due of $4,158.14.
I didn't even notice that.
And
Can you
they
check
only
and
credited us for $175.75 payment received on 2/20/20, so I don't know.
Which I think there's a problem because I think
There's
we sent
something
out a
wrong.
$4,000 check.
I did.
No, I didn't even notice that. So I will have to review it.
Okay, well, can you look at that now if you can?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
we
not a problem.
definitely do not wanna send them an extra $4,000 if we don't have to.
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish your report, sorry.
Not a problem. I didn't even notice that, so. Okay, so after cutting all the checks and all the deposits, the balance as of today in the account is $212,771.13.
That's subtracting out all the checks that you've written.
It's subtracting all the checks that I cut today, and also includes all deposits through today.
Okay.
Okay. Also, I gave a report which Lisa already mentioned earlier. The next USDA loan payment is due April 10th. So the amounts that need to be transferred for that is $47,816.87. So that is interest only.
Right.
And then I also recommending that we can do another $50,000 into the emergency fund. If we do both of those, the ending balance
Would be
would be
114.
just
Okay.
about $115,000. So, which is more than enough to cover us.
Right.
So that's, I was just making that recommendation. And also, last month you had asked me to check into the auditor fees in comparison.
Oh, yeah.
So last year we paid them $19,800. This year, the total amount, because they gave us our final billing, and including that is $16,480, so it did drop considerably.
Because they're not having to do anything in regard to the grant for the, because we didn't really get any substantial grant money or loan
Right.
money
Okay.
this.
Right.
So you're gonna
Previous year.
make the transfer for the 47,000 and then you'll make another 50,000 to the emergency fund?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's into my report, and I will go and check out what happened with the,
Electric.
Yeah.
yeah, cause.
Okay. Do I, hear a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pay our bills.
Well, no, we're not just gonna pay the bills because we're not paying this one, so it has to include
Which one are we not? The
the
electric?
electric until she tells us what's going on,
Yeah, well, I'll cut another check if I need to.
but that needs to be in the wording.
Okay, I will make a motion that we pay all of our bills except for the electric until Linda determines what our bill actually is. And once that is done, we can then pay that electric bill.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 401. Motion carried. Okay. Now, unfinished business. Oh, we're on to number 9. Discussion vote on updating the lease agreement with the Mountain Communities Chamber of Commerce.
Cool. Everybody, this is BJ.
Hey, BJ.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you for being patient.
You're welcome.
He's a member of the Chamber of
I know the
Commerce.
procedure.
And this all came up because BJ and their board hadn't been aware of whose responsibility it was to maintain the sign and the downtown project and all of that. So when he called me up, I got into the agreement and I realized that the agreement has not been updated since we started it. So it went into another 5-year period, and then at that time, I realized, well, it has to be updated, and then we also need to discuss the lack of maintenance on the signs and maybe the lack of maintenance in the downtown project as well, which is what the whole sign project is for. So I took some pictures. I'd gone over. It kind of started when I reported that the batteries had been stolen off of the signs. So then
The batteries were...
the solar batteries on the signs, one had been damaged, one had fallen off, and one had been damaged. When it fell off, one got stolen apparently. So we started talking back and forth. So then I had to pull the agreement and look at it. So then I'm looking at the signs, and the signs, most of the signs are peeling. The wood needs to be restained, taken care of. The signs, even the poppy sign on there is all peeling down. The Fraser Park Water Company sign is peeling down. You looked at the sign recently.
Now when I drive by, it's in the dark,
What happened,
I know you were.
they
unfortunately.
only picked up
See how it's all peeling?
this part
Right.
of the
All
check,
signs
it
are
didn't
peeling
pick up
off.
all the rest.
Water
Which is
company
so
signs are
weird,
peeling
I've
off.
never had that happen
Weathered,
before.
yeah.
The poppies,
So we only did pay that amount. So that full amount is
on
correct,
both signs.
it's paying too much.
So anyway, so we need to update dates. We need to update the.
Are you sure?
Gotta get
Because
the
I could've
signs all
sworn-
fixed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and this
maybe
cleared,
come up with a
the
game.
bank statement reconciled.
I'm sorry.
What's that, Johnny?
Well, I was waiting.
Okay, let's address that in a minute.
There was also an issue of rate increases for the lease amount, which we have never done to this point, so that's something else you guys need to address. And I don't know if you have a maintenance plan for the planters and stuff, keeping them maintained, but it seems like every year, they're just super overgrown and not taken care of very well, so those are all the things that you guys as a board, and you as a board need to discuss and hammer out.
Well, I mean, we've not really charged for anything, so therefore, I mean, they need to take care of their side of the contract of what needs to be done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really that disputable. Director Schoenberg.
Well, I do think we might wanna get copies of the contract again, because we've got
They're
board
right here.
members.
We have them right at number
Okay.
9.
In the book.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I didn't look yet, I'm busy here. Okay, so, I think that the board directors who weren't here at that time should definitely go over that, because they're,
I did,
okay.
from last, because I took
Yeah.
it home. I have a question.
Director Schoenberg. I mean,
Director-
Director Kelly.
I have a question on 16, the trash removal. I didn't.
That's already been done. That was at the time of installation and when they built the signs and everything.
Okay,
The only thing the water company's responsible for is, it says in here, is weed abatement. And the rest of it is supposed to be for maintaining the cityscape and the signs themselves. And then any money over that is, goes to the chamber, obviously, but it seems like there hasn't been any maintenance done on the signs since they've gone in, except for putting up new signs.
well, and then on 22, it says damage and destruction. It says that the leaser shall maintain fire and casualty insurance.
Yeah, that was another thing we needed to get.
Do we have that?
Do you know if you've been keeping insurance on the signage?
I brought a copy of the policy if
Oh,
you need to
perfect.
see it.
So we have a policy for that, so.
And I guess then if we see the policy, then we'll know what it
we make
covers.
copies for that?
You can probably skim through this pretty fast. You probably know.
Well, it says leaseor.
Yeah,
I mean,
leaseor.
That's us.
That's us.
Fire and casualty. I
They-
mean,
they-
they're
they are
supposed to have general
comprehensive.
liability.
They're supposed to have
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were
comprehensive.
at 21, it says
Yeah,
They're
that's-
supposed to
C.
have.
is the general liability, which he's got right here, which is good till September.
But do we have the fire?
Naming
And
us as additionally
just-
insured, right?
I believe
Do we carry that?
Who
Who
everything we own is covered by JPIA. I could check just to confirm that it's part of our property schedule, which I have right in there. I can check the email to make sure, but yeah, our insurance is stellar when it comes
We,
to that.
we just want to make sure that it hasn't dropped off, that the leasee is still named as additionally insured
I'm looking right now to see if it says
on both his and on ours.
Yeah,
right? And does
like
that
we're the AI on theirs and they're the AI on ours.
Yes.
cover fire and flood? Because that's right there on the flood.
I don't think they would be named as a secondary
It says it right here.
on
It
our
does say
side.
right there.
We're named as a secondary on their side,
Mhm.
additionally insured.
I don't even see it in here. So
And
you'll have to
they're
look.
supposed to be named on our side.
Director Gibson, excuse me.
I just wanna, verify, what is the problem right now? What are we talking about here? What's,
I don't think it was
Going
a
on
problem. I
with
think
the
we're updating records because
Okay.
the contract
Because we need to do a
expired.
new contract.
And the
Okay.
question that just came up about upkeep, it was just, a friendly conversation on who's supposed to do what. And I want to come out and meet everybody because I'm new to the, chamber and taking over the presidential seat for right now. So that was the idea, and just build our relationships. 'cause
thanks for
we're
taking
doing-
that on.
Yeah.
Who else is on there with you?
Rachel has officially stepped off. As you know, she's been kind of running it herself, poor
Yeah.
woman, for about 10 years. And she can't really do it anymore. She's got family issues and got to take care of her own business. When I came in to join about 2 years ago, it kind of grew into the position of possibly closing it down because we can't get volunteers. So, since I've been kind of moving around, I got 2 other people to come and join the board, but we're still kind of understaffed, and Rachel still takes care of everything for the most part, and she walks me through lots of things. She's my my mentor when it comes to this. But again, the idea was to help go forward and try to fix things and
Is
at
there,
least-
is there something broken? Is there something?
Yeah, it
Well-
hasn't been
Well,
maintained.
other than the light theft, actually, the man who's gonna be doing the repair work said all of the structures that hold the lights, the framing, are gone as well, and I don't know if that's due to weather, wind, or theft. But he is coming up with new anti-theft devices to help prevent that in the future. So we'll see. Again, I never thought that was on you guys. I knew that was on us.
Right.
But speaking with Johnny and saying, hey, you guys we need to re-sign stuff. So took the opportunity to come and meet you guys and talk about stuff. So,
Right, no, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, no problem. Just
But
going
you've been having
forward.
no trouble keeping the signs, like people want to have signs there and it's like,
Let's see, as of next month, I believe they're coming to do, I brought a contractor, they need copies of that as well. They're coming to add 4 more billboards for new people, new businesses that want it. So, actually, I did not know about the condition of that top part peeling. It's kind of hard to see from afar, which I always thought I wish those were closer to the road because it's hard to read. Even the sign down, right, just when you pass the Flying J and the roads merge, there's that Chamber of Commerce sign as well. I noticed that one is peeling, but because I can drive right by it and see it. But now they brought that to my attention, we'll see if we can fix that up too. The problem is, it's not just getting up there and putting a ladder. You have to hire one of those trucks that come up, and that's
cherry
it's
picker?
costly. Yeah. So we try to do all the signs and maintenance in one shot, so we don't have to send them out just to do one thing or the other usually. I made note of that special thing. I wanted to also, 2 subjects here. When we talk about the water planners, can you designate which ones exactly we're responsible for? Because I've noticed ones where people run into it, like at the gas station, and on the opposite side, it's just I'm trying to get the city to come out and help fix that. I'm sorry?
I said it's all the ones that were put in with the sidewalks, so whichever ones are built up curb-like.
Just mark it for me on the map so I can physically go inspect it myself.
And the streetlights.
So, I'm sorry?
And the streetlights. So
And the
everything that
streetlights.
was put in with the downtown project was originally an agreement, there was a partial agreement with the landscaping place, and then they dropped off of it when the sign was completed, and then
You're talking about Antioch?
Antioch, and then the revenue from the signs was supposed to be put into place to be able to maintain what they built.
I know part of that is from the water bill to maintain the planters, but you're saying the street lights as well. Again, this is all before my
Yes.
time, so I just,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to reiterate stuff.
So,
but-
so the reason that we got all that stuff and got the signs and got the land given to us by, at the time, it was before Couch, it was
Whatever his name was.
Ray,
Ray Watson.
Ray Watson, yeah. So at that time, that was the only way we could figure out an ongoing. The county wasn't prepared to do an ongoing maintenance agreement or anything. So that was why they went ahead and gave us. They wanted all the signs removed. We said we don't want to just remove all the signs. It needs to be signs for the businesses here. But they wanted because it was like all the signs. They had initiated pulling all the signs out. And so the agreement we came to with them is that they would pay for the downtown landscaping, they would pay for the land, they would give over the land for the signs, they would pay initially for the signs being constructed, and then the money, then we would lease that land and those signs to you at a reasonable rate so that you could still make enough money to be able to maintain and to be able to keep the Chamber of Commerce going. Because at the time, there was like no real revenue for the Chamber of
there
Commerce.
still really isn't kind of.
Yeah.
And until recently, Rachel had been doing it, but when I called them and said that there was a light that was out for a couple of months, she said, well, we try to wait until we get enough of them to where we can replace them all. but
Right.
it had been a long time since that one was out. So I think at that point, I don't even think you need a boom truck to replace those light bulbs. They're not that high. They use ladders to do that.
No, because you guys do the,
Decorations
you
and
do the
stuff.
decorations too, right?
No.
Oh, who's doing-
No, you're talking about along
Just like in your local-
Monterey Trail and Mount Pinos Way, that's what you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah, no, the, Mountain Memories
Does the
Association takes care of that,
Okay.
yeah.
Basically, it's wherever there's a sidewalk, and I believe it goes all the way down to Ace. It's on Monterey, and it goes in front of Cavies,
Right.
and it's on both sides of Mount Pinos. But I don't know if I don't think there's planters on that side, on the north side of Mount Pinos. I think they're only on the
They're
south side. So the south side of Mount Pinos all the way down, as far as the sidewalk goes, and there's the concrete planter boxes.
Okay.
We could go and look at them
Thank you.
in daytime. This is our property schedule. I don't see it listed specifically because it's grouped into buildings and property and stuff, so I will find out.
And we're not listed as additionally assured anymore on yours either.
It's not on there?
No, I don't believe
So,
We can have that, that's a phone call.
and then I'll check up on this on Monday and make sure that the signs are covered. And, if we can get the invoice on how much it cost, how much they were worth, it should be in the original agreement.
Yeah, originally that $100 a month was, we were gonna see like how you were doing, and that never really happened. We didn't continue to. You didn't continue to come here and let us know, you know, what money was coming in from the signs, but it looked like everything was sort of working. So I think we left it alone, and then we just forgot about it.
Went on autopilot, right. Oh, again, forgive my ignorance on certain things, but coming here and learning how things are actually connected to each other and wanting to go forward with it. I know we need to keep that going one way or the other. So again, it's vital that nice to meet all of you.
Yes.
And learn how all this is connected. I'll make a note to add, so you want the additionally assured, I just read that in that article, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's mentioned in there, that's all right.
And you have the lease agreement also now, right?
You have a copy of
You
it.
have a copy of
I
it?
have, this is what, Johnny and I
Yes,
talked about, and he
okay.
sent this to me, yes.
Great.
Thank
So the
you.
only thing covered when we make them additionally insured is not gonna be the signs themselves, it's gonna be, I mean, it will be just the sign,
It's their.
the structure
signs
itself
themselves,
is
yes.
where they're gonna be additionally insured, not
Yes.
the signs being
No,
destroyed
that's why
themselves.
they have insurance, and that's why
The
we're
billboard.
additionally
Yeah.
insured.
Just wanna make sure I was
So,
gonna ask them for the right thing when
Yes.
I call.
Yeah,
you guys.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Did you have something, Director
No,
Gibson?
that's-
Okay.
Excuse my ignorance, but were you here at the time that all that was
Mhm.
going down?
Yeah.
So you're sure.
Director Nyman wasn't, so the Gibson and
Garcia.
Garcia was here. In fact, he was a big part of doing the sign
And I was
design.
here,
And I was there.
Johnny was there.
You know, off
Well,
the bat, how
I
many
was asking
planners there
because
are.
You
I
know
know.
the insurance things.
I'll go and count
Yeah,
it.
but I tell you what,
Okay.
So
Director Schoenberg?
I'd like to move that we carry this over to next month, so that we can give a chat, I mean, that we need to sign this, but I would like to, as a part of that motion, move that we hold off on increasing the, rent until, because I think that they're gonna need to get a good idea of how much, you have a lot of work that needs to be, a lot of maintenance that needs to happen, right? So rather than put another undue expense on top of what they already have, I would like us to keep the rent the way it is until they've caught up, and then we can re-examine that. So, I mean, I don't,
So we could just change dates on this and sign it for now, or do you wanna hold off on signing it?
I would move on just changing the dates and signing for now, but that we revisit this. So I guess I
In 6
gotta,
months.
okay, strike everything so far.
May I? So I have a proposal for the new work to be done for the lights, that's around
Okay.
3,500. And then the billing actually to get the guys come out, change the sign and do whatever it takes, it's another 4,000. So that's actually in the works as of now.
Okay.
Any increases, of course, I have to acknowledge the board and get their input as well. Hopefully there won't be. You can help us out. Well, can really appreciate that because it is kind of hard. And it's even harder now to go out and about and try to recruit people with everything that's been going on. So I would appreciate it, you know, for at least for a while, so we can get some momentum going. Like I said, with some new board members, and I also have another interest business who wants to join the board. So if I can get more momentum and get people to care, you know, a little bit. It's hard. It's very hard. It's just a very challenged area.
So,
You
so
know,
how
I'm-
long are we gonna
So-
make this
so
agreement for?
I'd like to make the agreement for a year and revisit everything in a year, after you've had a chance to do the maintenance and considering all the craziness that's going on in the world right now, and just, you know, allow you to
Sure.
get situated as you're the new president and everything. So I'd like to make the contract just 1 year rather than, what was it? It was 5 years,
5.
right?
Well, it was
If
1 year,
everything
it was
was
1 year
okay to-
initially,
And
and then
then-
after that 1 year, it was went into
Every
a
5 years.
Yeah.
So I think we would
You
need.
could do the same thing again if you wanted.
So yeah, so I would be good with revisiting the 1 year and then 5 years if everything's okay, and at the end of that 1 year revisiting the amount.
That sounds good.
So that's what I would move. So
We'll
I'd
see what the
move that
numbers
we renew it for 1 year, reconsider everything at that year, and then if everything's fine or we're making any
Then we'll
changes,
do a 5-year
make the
contract.
changes and then a 5-year contract.
Perfect.
Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried, 401.
Okay, so we'll make the date changes. Tiffany's gonna try to show her wizardry on converting that into text. We'll change the dates, get Jerry to sign it, get the chamber to sign it, and then we'll give it back to you. In the meantime, by the next regular meeting, hopefully we'll have the insurance all worked out. We'll give that to you as well.
Yeah, so we
Just
would
so you
need a
know
copy
things
of
are
that,
progressing.
Absolutely.
insurance to put in our file. and-
Absolutely.
And then we just
And
need
we'll make
Tiffany
sure-
to help us keep up on the year date, like just track so that we
Put it on
don't
the
miss the
calendar.
boat again, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, BJ, for coming in.
You're welcome, man. One more question on this.
Sure.
The watered bill that we give you guys for the planters, that's not metered, is it?
It is
For,
metered.
for the usage?
Yeah, it's metered at, in front of Cavy's, yeah. Correct?
And that's for all the planters?
The
Yes,
downtown
it is.
project,
Yes,
yeah,
it
it's
is.
metered, yeah. I'll explain some of the issues with it and we'll find out, you know, what kind of autonomy, you want us to have. A lot of times we'll have problems with busted sprinklers, and in the past, when the county was taking care of it, it was hard to coordinate with them we got something busted, we shut it off, you need to come out and fix it. It'll be easier if we can communicate with you guys, the chamber, and us directly, and then it will simplify things,
Great, great.
so.
I also have a new landscape company that's offered to utilize their services, especially for what you call it, water-friendly plants and other things that might be better.
Right,
So
which
we
is
don't
what it
have
was
to-
supposed to be.
We don't
but-
have, yeah, I don't, like I said, it was before my time, so I'm not sure, but now they have these new people involved, that was actually a nice gesture, so we'll see we get them on board when we figure this out with that.
Okay,
Okay,
So thank you.
nice
all
to
right,
meet
thank you, BJ.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for coming in.
Okay, on to number 12, discussion vote on raising the notice posting fee for accounts subject to disconnection.
This is correct. This is correct.
So Johnny will be in touch.
Yeah, me and you will talk
Okay.
next week.
We only paid 170.
Good night, all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Night.
You got myself on that, right?
I didn't catch it, you guys didn't catch it, it was, I don't know what, it only picked up the office portion of the last bill. It didn't pick up the whole bill. And I don't know why, I probably got sidetracked, interrupted while I was posting it and didn't post the rest of the allocation. So that's why only
It
part of the
doesn't make
check-
any sense though, because the office part is always a separate bill.
No, it's not, it's right here. I separated out.
But you're sure we didn't have another check?
No, and this is the amount that cleared the bank, cause I reconciled with the bank today and that's what cleared.
Okay,
So.
Sorry to bother. Somebody want to switch parking spaces with me?
So we have a
That's me.
$29 late
What are
charge
you
on it
stuck?
as well.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
behind
already
his
blocked.
vehicle.
Oh,
It's me.
oh, okay.
Sorry, Al.
So.
Is it still raining?
Yeah, a little bit.
Usually I'm the first one out. Be right back.
Okay, let's sign Linda's check so she can know after this and we'll.
I like that guy, by the way.
Yeah.
And he's very knowledgeable even on the
You wanna
park,
sign
working
Linda's
with the
check so
county
she can.
on the park.
So she can vamonos.
Easy to work with.
I don't
We
know
can-
how I didn't catch
we can
that.
get
I
to it.
saw that there was 4,000, but I didn't look at so I guess now I have to like double check everything up here too because.
Well, I don't know how I missed that either, cause that's not like me. That's why I'm still a little,
Well, it's not like we, don't have a whole lot going on every month, so.
right, but,
Everybody can make a mistake once in a while, Brown.
yeah.
Yeah, but that
You guys
got
get busy
through
once.
everybody, but it's yeah.
I'd like her to pull the actual, doesn't she
Bill?
keep copies of that? Doesn't she
The
keep
bill,
that?
that she did.
She
She
did,
did.
found
She
out
just
what
pulled it.
is.
Well, this is the bill.
She had put the wrong number when she was inputting it
Okay,
in.
I just like to look at it, that's all.
She just
I like
did
to
it
see what I missed.
correctly.
Bet you won't miss it again.
I bet you I won't either.
I know we won't.
I know.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, what just happened?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, Becky, can I
Yes,
pass
sir.
these over to you for a second
Mm-hmm.
signature? These are just two signature,
Yeah, sure.
and then I'll pass over to the
Oh,
director,
yeah, don't you
mine
know.
and the three signature stuff.
Okay, number 12, vote on raising the notice posting fee for account subject to disconnection.
So I thought we'd have an answer tonight. Alan was talking about having it to me this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't happened. I don't have an email from Alan. I did ask the question to the couple of representatives. There was an attorney and a financial guy who does Prop 218 rate studies.
Right.
At my conference, they gave their take on it. Alan wants to formally give us his take in writing since there are attorneys and they're the ones who
Right.
advise us. So without Alan's official statement,
Okay,
I
so,
don't think there's anything we can do yet
Got to table it till the 26th.
for the
so,
special meeting.
so let's, can I get a motion,
Thank you.
that we table, number 12 until the special meeting?
This one too.
Somebody?
I'm sorry, what?
She's looking kind of
I
quiet.
have a question. I just I'm sorry.
Okay, can we table this first and then we
Yes.
can go on to that?
I'll make a motion that we table number 12 until our next meeting, which will be our special meeting on the 26th.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 401, motion carried. And what question did you have, Director Schoenberg?
Do you have the directors, the other? I don't remember
The
signing.
checks?
them. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I signed those.
You didn't sign it? No. You
I
didn't.
don't know how those got over to you. Did somebody
Well,
grab those?
I'm gonna have to,
You just
Terry?
handed me
Just
the
handed
whole
them,
thing.
just now,
Mm-mm.
the whole
Yeah.
stack.
You just
It's
handed me
okay.
the whole stock. It's
I've got,
okay.
But we
she's
got it
gonna
covered.
sign what she can, second signature.
Yeah.
Okay. Going on, the number 13, discussion, vote on sending, the GM, what's that stand for?
General
Oh,
manager.
general manager. Okay, to the
We're in
CSDA
good
General
shape,
Manager Leadership Summit. I'm just kidding.
It's the same one I went to last year,
It's three signatures. Two.
and I don't even know when it is. I think it's June.
You're gonna look at the paper on this.
Nah, it's June or
Okay.
July, but you got to get the
Early
early bird rates, you gotta sign up early. And with so many different laws going into effect, it's probably good to go again to it.
So what is this conference? Just, can you explain it
It's
a
the
little?
CSDA General Manager Conference that I went to the last time. They went down there and they taught so much about the rate studies and the new laws that come into effect and how it affects everybody. And, you know, there was attorneys there, and there's, you know, workshops, and there's vendors, and, you know, banking and all kinds of stuff there. Dude, I don't even, let me see, 13.
It's the general manager's version of the conference you send me to every year. I go to the board clerk version of it. He has the general manager version of it.
Okay,
I mean,
and,
different topics.
and so what's the cost on this?
600 and something for the conference, and then the hotel room.
Okay, I will,
Usually comes
Any-
out under
Is that the
15
one that
to-
we got like a scholarship one on, or we just?
Yeah,
got-
but-
But you only get so many scholarships.
Yeah.
Usually only your first time going to.
And where is it at?
I think this year it's in Tahoe.
and these are three.
And where?
Becky, these are
I think
three.
it's in Tahoe this year.
All right, we already got two on.
Last year it was in Anaheim. Or no, Orange County last time.
And where's it gonna be now?
Tahoe. But don't worry, I don't gamble, so you're fine.
And they stay in California. The
I've,
CSD
yeah, I've
things
never
in
gambled, so
California.
you don't have to worry about that.
On the California side.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, I don't have.
Are you flying or driving?
Driving. I'll just drive and stay. It's not that far to drive to Tahoe.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Director Schoenberg,
I move that we pay to send our GM to the conference, the
CSDA.
CSDA conference.
do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Motion carried, 401. Okay, on to review and approve meeting minutes for February 13th, 2020 and February 27th, 2020.
And you only have the 13th, the 27th hasn't been written yet, so that'll.
Oh, okay.
And I actually gave Tiffany my okay to put that off because she was going to that there was so much stuff on that she's had, so many minutes
Right.
that she's had to do for the additional
Oh.
phone call and everything that I said to not worry about
Yeah,
it.
because she was leaving for the conference.
Go do the
Hey,
conference.
we're pretty good at getting these done.
Yeah, we
When
haven't
I
been
first got on
behind.
the board,
Yeah.
it was months that we were doing.
She hasn't missed one yet.
Yeah, so I felt like she's been doing such a good job, and we're really
Well,
never
that's
far
fine, because I
behind.
mean, in the past, we were months behind, so
Yes.
we're up to date and
At
we're
least.
transparent, so that's a good
And I
thing.
need to apologize. I haven't read them. I got so overwhelmed with all the other stuff I was doing that I haven't read.
Yeah,
the
what you been
minutes at
doing with
all.
your time, woman?
Yeah, I read them, I didn't
Oh,
see,
show off.
I didn't see any problems. Director Gibson,
I would like to make a motion that we approve the minutes for Thursday, February 13th, 2020, with the possibility for additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected because I didn't find anything wrong with the minute.
do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm gonna abstain just because I haven't read them.
Okay, 3-1-1.
301.
No, she abstained.
Ayes, noes, abstentions,
And missing.
and Garcia absent. So it's
So it's
301.
3011.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3011. I stand corrected. Okay,
I told you, that's confusing.
That's my fault.
okay, on to number 15, discussion and vote on future agenda items. Tiffany?
Do you want the minutes for the 27th on the planning meeting or the special meeting?
The what?
Put it
On the
Special.
special meeting,
Put it on the special.
because
meeting.
we have minutes that we have to do on the planning meeting as
Yes.
well.
Exactly. Okay. So I'll put 227.
Bring Scott's and sleeping bags to that meeting.
Yeah.
It's already like at least 10 agenda items.
Oh my goodness.
It's,
Okay.
On the
it's gonna be
special
grueling.
Alrighty.
Um,
We got
Okay.
table stuff.
I think we need to put on the agenda, if you hadn't done already, for us to discuss the fixing of the streets.
Well, I think we should carry that over until the next regular meeting.
The
Next
regular
break.
agenda.
The next regular meeting,
In
because
April.
we have so
Correct.
much on this one.
Okay, so can we make that
Yeah,
Yes.
well,
Now
yes, you
to
can
add it
make
to the
that
next
note.
regular?
Yeah,
Okay.
oh, yeah, definitely.
No, let's add something else to the end of the month.
That gives
Huh.
him more time to get information and
Yeah.
everything, so. Anything else? Okay, if I don't hear anything else, I would, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will motion that we adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
I will second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried 401, and, we adjourned at 7:41 PM.